Here we go. Take two. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first official episode of, whatever this podcast is going to become. I'm your host, David, and before we get started, I should probably confess something right up front. I am wildly underqualified to run a podcast about theology, philosophy, science, existence, or honestly, anything except maybe operating heavy equipment and drinking too much coffee. But here we are. Now, don't get me wrong, I spent years reading Christian scientists, Christian philosophers, Christian apologists, atheists, agnostics, cosmologists, biologists, quantum physicists, and a whole lot of people on YouTube who probably shouldn't have a platform at all. But that's besides the point. The point is, after all the searching, all the studying, and all the arguing with myself, I can finally say I've arrived at the shocking conclusion that I don't know. That may come as a surprise to you, but it is what it is. And for the first time in my life, I'm actually okay with that. I'm okay with not knowing. This podcast, this is me reaching out to people who might feel the same way. People who have grew up with one belief system, walked away from it, came back, walked away again, came back, walked away again, circled it, side-eyed it, questioned it, and finally just said, all right, God, or universe, or whatever. I've literally said that so many times. If you're there, cool. If you're not, okay, cool. But somebody, please send me the manual. I don't know, a lot of you are going to say, we got the manual. The basic instructions before leaving Earth. Maybe. But today's episode is titled Creation versus whatever this is. Whatever we're all around. Whatever is all around us. Because that's the real debate, right? If the universe is designed, if someone built it, engineered it, coded it, or did everything pop into existence out of nothing, like the world's most aggressive magic trick? Alright, so let's break this down. You got the big question. My bad. Okay, zone out. Listen, brand new. Doing this for the first time. Seeing myself on camera and trying to read what I've written for you guys is not easy. Alright, so let's just keep it real, okay? I do have a script. I did write it. It is right up here. It's me. It's my words. But it's first time for everything, right? So, you know what? Y'all can just be here for the full everything. We're gonna speed it up just a little bit. Oh, not that much. Okay, so if the universe is the product of divine design, or did we all just happen because a bunch of atoms bumped into each other the right way? Two camps. Camp A, creation. There's a mind behind this, right? Camp B, cosmic accident. Things just happen, man. I've bounced between both so many times. I should have earned frequent flyer miles by now. And honestly, one day I'm thinking about the DNA sequence and the coding for DNA and think, this is a programming language. Somebody wrote this. And I wasn't the first person to say that by any means. And then the next day, it's like I'm watching a black hole documentary. Yeah, maybe we're all just floating stardust with anxiety. Who knows, right? It's back and forth. Always has been for me. Since I can remember. I mean, I was probably 15 the first time I asked the question about free will. Because I grew up in church, right? I did. In and out. You know. More than a lot, less than many. So here we go. Let's talk about the wild protein statistic, right? I know that somebody or all of you have heard the statement that, the chances of a single protein molecule popping up into existence is something like 1 in 10 to the 70th power or something like that, some enormous number. I don't know if you know what 1 with 70 zeros behind it looks like, but it's beyond our comprehension. It doesn't even make sense to the human brain. It's like trying to imagine you've marked 1 grain of sand on all the world's beaches, and you're just gonna pick that grain of sand, and that's gonna be the one. Or trying to imagine how many times your grandparents told the same story at Thanksgiving. Either way, unimaginable number. All right. So here's the analogy. Imagine filling the universe. Dang, I did it again, y'all. Okay, because I skipped. I got ahead of my script. You see what I'm saying? I already did the sand analogy. We don't have to do that part. That's okay. Stick with me, though. Stick with me. Because the odds of you picking that grain are less than 1 in 10 to the 70th power. Like, it's astronomical. Something a number like 1 in 10 to the 300th power is probably closer, right? Now, is that 100% accurate? Depends on who you ask. There is a lot. So some say it's spot on, some say it's exaggerated, some say it doesn't matter because evolution didn't have one shot. It had billions of years to do it, right? But here's the real point. Even the simplified version makes you pause. Like, literally, is this just random? Are we all here by accident or coincidence? It's just happenstance that we're able to think about ourselves. And because I'm getting ahead of my script, I'll probably say some things over again. You'll have to deal with it because this is the first episode of an awesome podcast, guys. So, let's be fair. This show is going to be anything. It's going to be honest. It's going to be fair. We're going to get to the point. We're going to talk about facts, right? So here's what the atheists or the naturalists argue. They say the protein statistic is misleading because life didn't form all at once. There are millions and millions of chemical interactions over billions of years. They say nature doesn't need design, it just needs replication. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Replication, variation, and selection over time, right? That's all that you need. They say if you run enough experiments long enough, improbable things become inevitable. And I know that you've all heard this analogy. The typewriter and the monkey thing. If you give the monkey a typewriter, infinite time, eventually he'll type out the complete works of Shakespeare. Now, personally, I don't know if that's comforting or disturbing, but life didn't have to beat the 1 in 10 to whatever power odds. It's just with one roll of the dice. The dice were rolled trillions and trillions and trillions of times, constantly, consecutively, all at once, in order, not in order, just chaoticness, right? It happened. Now, the creation side. Not all Christian scientists look at the exact same data and go, not all now. I'm going to do thoughts editing, guys. I'm going to give y'all this one raw, though, okay? Christian scientists look at this data and say, okay, but why do the dice exist at all? Why does math work? Why do physics work? Why is DNA literally a coding system? Why does the universe look suspiciously like it was tuned for life? And it does make sense, honestly. It seems like a logical, simple answer. Isn't that what science says? The simplest answer is usually the most correct. It's like walking into a room and seeing a giant iPhone sitting there and going, well, clearly this assembled itself over billions of years out of local materials. No, bro. Somebody made that thing. Same with the universe. It looks designed. Somebody must have made it. We know design when we see it. If you walk on the beach and you wave, and a wave made a smiley face in the sand, okay, cool. But if you see Jessica Prom written perfectly in the sand, yeah, we know a wave didn't do that. So creation is basically saying nature has fingerprints all over it. And that's what the Bible says. The Bible does say from the beginning of time, there's been evidence for the Creator, right? Now, Let me tell you where I got stuck. There was a night, I remember it clearly, where I sat outside looking at the stars, thinking about the size of the universe, and I just said out loud, God, if you're real, show me something. If you're not, then whoever is in charge of this mess better start mailing out pamphlets. And nothing happened. No burning bush, no thunder, no Morgan Freeman voiceover. Just space. But the next morning I woke up in a weird place I hadn't felt in years. Not certainty, but peace with uncertainty. I didn't suddenly know the answers. I was just okay with not knowing. And that's when I realized maybe the point isn't having the answer. Maybe the point is all about the search. And that's what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be about the search for the real question under the question. And here's the crazy part. Whether the universe was created or random, we still ended up here. Human beings, consciousness, love, reason, purpose, questions. We have them. We all have them. We're not just matter. We're matter that thinks about itself. We're matter that asks questions. If everything is random, why do we care about meaning? Why do we feel guilt? Why do we feel love? Why do we look at the stars and feel small and significant at the same time? Even atheists admit consciousness is a mystery nobody has solved. If the universe is random, why does it behave like it wants to be understood? Why does it feel like it's inviting us into something deeper? These are the kinds of questions I want to ask. These are the kind of questions I want to discuss with you. My current position, which is why I made this podcast, why this podcast exists. Here's where I stand today. I don't know if we're the product of divine design. I don't know if we're the product of cosmic randomness. But I don't believe just randomness really satisfies the weight of existence. It's not enough for me. At the same time, I don't have the arrogance to say that I've got it all figured out, because I absolutely do not. So I'm doing this podcast to explore the tension in the middle, the place where faith meets doubt, where science meets mystery, where humans ask questions we might not ever fully answer. This podcast isn't about convincing you. This podcast is about inviting you to the journey that I'm on, so you can journey with me. Sorry, guys. So listen, if you're someone who grew up believing the same thing, questioned everything, doubted everything, and somehow circled back around, if you're someone who feels stuck between wanting to believe and wanting proof, if you're someone who says, hey, I don't know what's true, but I want to know, then this show is for you. Over the next episodes, we're going to dig in. We're going to dig into DNA and design, the origin of life theories, consciousness, why humans believe anything at all, miracles, evidence for God, evidence against God, the stories of people who went through the same journey and landed on the same kinds of conclusions. This is episode 1. Thanks for being here. Let's journey together.